What's up, magical people? Welcome back to your most magical life. I'm Mia Magik, and today we are talking about the Sagittarius full moon coming up on June 3rd. This is a big, beautiful, powerful moon, especially because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter has just entered Taurus. So this planet of luck and abundance and benevolence has just entered into the ultimate sign of abundance, which is such a gift and such a blessing, especially for people who have any Taurus in their chart like me. I'm so sorry that I won't be leading a ritual this week, but if you are interested in coming to my retreat in Scotland in October, the 9th through 14th, that is going to be the absolute most magical experience, and that will be an Aries full moon ritual, our first night together. So if you're really hankering for a full moon ritual with me in person, that is going to be the absolute best way, open to everyone. Gender nonconforming people, men, women, singles, couples, absolutely everybody. It's going to be so magical, and we're filling up quick. So make sure you get your application in. I'll put that link below. This full moon is really fiery. So full moons are always kind of fiery energy, right? Because the sun is illuminating them fully. But this moon is in a fire sign. And, you know, I've heard like a lot of people say that go big or go home was like invented by Sagittarians. It's kind of like this adage because they are always the life of the party, that insatiable thirst for knowledge, that like constant must find the answers. You know, Gemini, my sun sign, is very much about the questions, right? It's very curious, very childlike. Well, why this? Well, why that? Well, how come? And if you don't find the answer to that question, you're just going to keep asking another one, right? Like you're just going to keep going and like find a new question to ask if you don't like get the response that you desire. Sagittarius is not like that. If you tell them that like you can't find an answer to something, they are going to be deeply committed to finding that answer. Oh, well, no one else has found it. Well, then I must find it. Like I must know the answer. So that's a really beautiful, important piece for us to look at within ourselves for this full moon is like, what are the answers that I have been seeking, that I have been needing in my own life, right? So for me, some of you know, you may be on my email list. If you're not, you should make sure that you are. But I am very, very vulnerable and open and transparent. Obviously, most of the time I am, but especially on my emails. And this week, I had a really challenging illness. I got a really crazy like GI issue, and then I got hives all over my body, and I was really sick. And I was perhaps asking the wrong questions because I just was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening here? Why am I being punished? Like all these old stories. And it's not about that for Sagittarius. It's like, what is the answer? What is really the deeper meaning and understanding for me about what's happening in my life or any situation in my reality that I need to find right now in order to keep moving forward, right? Sagittarius is represented by the centaur. So the four solid legs of the horse, very deeply grounded and connected to the earth. And then that body of man, which is meant to like represent higher wisdom and godliness. And, you know, like we've all met other humans. We're not all really aligned with that. Let's be real about it. But some of the time, most of the time, hopefully we're giving our species the benefit of the doubt. We're gonna make it, I hope. Anyways, so that centaur is like very directed energy, right? It's carrying its bow, right? It's about focus, like I'm going here, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, like this is who I am. And so you want to have those answers in order to like run with them, right? So again, this is a very benevolent, beautiful, amazing full moon coming up. It's not an eclipse. So it's really an opportunity for you to look at like, where do I need to come to completion with, or where do I want to fully illuminate any of the places in my life that maybe I have not been in direct communication with the divine. I've not been in alignment. I've been like choosing kind of the servant versus the master in my mind, because the sun right now is in Gemini. So the myth of Gemini is that, and Sagittarius and Gemini are opposites. Obviously that always happens whenever there's a full moon. That's why we say opposites attract, because of astrology, the oldest science on earth. So the myth of Gemini is long. I won't tell you the whole thing. I've got a video about it. But one twin lives in the realm of the gods on Mount Olympus, and one twin lives in the underworld. So we have the opportunity as Gemini ruled by Mercury and this very like messenger of the gods, but not just messenger of the gods, really being able to like traverse between the realms of the gods, the highest levels of heaven and the cosmos, and the like shadow, pain, darkness, like kind of the challenges that we experience. Gemini is able to like move through both of those things very quickly, to see both sides. In its shadow, of course, that can mean that like you can let your mind get caught down in the darkness. But when we really remember, darkness is where all life is born. Seeds are thrust into darkness. The womb is the void, like the cosmos, the creation of all life in the universe comes from the darkness and from the void. So that's very important to remember. But the piece about that, why if we're in the sun moment of Gemini, which we are obviously, excuse me, until the solstice, we have to look at, is my search for answers, or all of the questions that I'm asking, are they the right questions? Are they the kinds of questions that are leading me down into the underworld, or are they the kinds of questions that are bringing me up into the realms of the gods? And I certainly, again, like I was just sharing with you, I certainly have been asking some of the questions that led me down into the underworld. Like, what the fuck is going on? What is wrong? What is happening? Like, how have I been serving and serving and serving and living my dharma and I'm being punished? It's a story. I'm not actually being punished. My body is purging something. My body is releasing something. My body is healing. My body is powerful and knows what it needs to do to heal. If it needs to like break out in hives, like, okay, I trust you. And that's the kind of energy that like Sagittarius wants, is like trust. We talked about this a lot. I did a live on Instagram yesterday, and we talked about this a lot, that confidence means trust. People are like, what's the border between confidence and arrogance? It's like confidence, confidere in Latin, comes from trust, or to trust in the benevolence of. So Sagittarius has that confidence, that trust in the benevolence of the universe. Like, I am striking forward. I am forging this new path. I am trailblazing. Like, I'm following my bow and arrow and I'm doing it. And so that is a really beautiful opportunity for us to look at right now, while the sun, so the sun represents, of course, like our shining, our power, our personality, sort of our outward facing light. And the sun is in Gemini. Fire, sun, Sagittarius, fire, moon, water, but being illuminated by the sun. So our emotions, our sensuality, our sexuality are being illuminated by the sun. That happens in every full moon, but it just so happens that this moon, which is always represented by water and always controls the tides, is being shown upon by the sun, by a fire energy, again, which happens all the time, but in these two signs. So the sun is actually the one that's in Gemini and the moon is the one that's in Sagittarius. But again, we're just talking about like the archetypal energies of what's at play here. So the moon is always being illuminated. The waters, the sensuality, the emotions are always being illuminated by the fire, the power, the transformation, the action that we're willing to take, the motivation. And so the opportunity that we have is to really look at, okay, in this particular energy, when the moon is in a fire sign, so it's being illuminated by the fire of the sun, the waters, the emotions, the sensuality, the sexuality, the creativity is being illuminated by the light of the sun, and the sun is in this sign of Gemini, the air. How am I like rising or falling in my life, in my mindset? Of course, because air rules the mind and our communication, our intellect. Gemini is very much like the mental sign, like high functioning mind, moving quickly, right? You guys always say that. I get comments like all the time, you're talking too fast. I'm like, that's how fast my mind is moving. It's actually moving like 10,000 times faster than I'm even able to get the words out. So really looking at, am I asking the kinds of questions? Am I allowing my emotional realm, my sensuality and sexuality to be illuminated, to take action, to see where there are shadows, to see where there are old patterns, to find the answers about those patterns, about those habits, about those shadows that either bring me, again, up into the realms of the gods or drop me down into the underworld. And sometimes we need to be thrust into the underworld. Sometimes we have to go down there. Sometimes there's fucking gold in the darkness, okay? So it's very, very important to acknowledge that like there's nothing wrong with shadow. There's nothing bad about it. So this full moon, I would really recommend going and taking action towards something that helps you rise into that higher mind, that realm of the gods for you. Again, Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, is in the sign of Taurus. And so there is a connection. There's a link between this sign of the Empress, of abundance, of fertility and fecundity and growth and beauty, but also slow, the way that nature grows slowly. She doesn't rush ever, right? Very meditative, very energetically still and tranquil, but also like putting their fucking feet down, you know, kind of like the bull can be a little stubborn. But that's good to use that energy right now in like being stubborn about how to connect with your own true nature. And again, find the answers, that Sagittarius quest for knowledge, quest for answers, find the answers that will allow you to either like feel safe going down into the underworld, if that's what you need to do, if you need to go down there to learn something, to like gather some wisdom, or to rise up higher into the realms of the gods. Maybe you've been in the underworld for a while, right? And like you need to find an answer to how to reach this higher plane within your own life. It doesn't mean like higher over or above anyone else, or like someone is less than you or anything like that. It's not about that. It's about rising yourself higher. Again, thinking about that centaur, like the 4 solid legs of the horse, the earthly energy, which is very Taurian energy, solid, stable foundation, grounded, abundant in the earth. And then that man or human being that rises up, the knowledge, the knowing, the answers to the questions. Because answers mean nothing without a solid foundation to our physical material reality. They don't mean anything, right? You see those people who go on their spiritual journey and they just spin the fuck out and they're just like caught in the cosmos and it's really challenging and they just don't have that firmly planted relationship to reality. They get lost and that's okay. But what we want to focus on for this full moon is completing any habits, behaviors, patterns, challenges. Again, just bringing them into the light of awareness. They don't have to like completely be eradicated from your life, but fire is the element of transformation and of taking action. It's creation and destruction. So you have the choice. Do I want to take this with me? Is the answer to this question, is, depression or anxiety or fear or worry or unworthiness, is that something I want to take with me? Is that going to help me reach the realms of the gods? Not likely. So what do I need to do? What action do I need to take in order to eradicate that behavior for myself? Now, I love full moon hikes. I'm up in Boulder. I will absolutely be doing a full moon hike. I'm so excited. A nice big walk through the wilderness under the moonlight. One of my absolute favorite things to do. It was so fun when it was all snowy. Everything was just glowing and luminous and just silvery, sprinkling moonlight on all the snow. Obviously, it's coming to summer now, so no more snow. But I love a full moon hike, and I find that I just like get so quiet and you just hear the owls, and it's so, so wonderful to be able to just listen. And really, again, the invitation is to find an answer that you've been searching for. Where most full moons, you would want to like do something that marks the completion. Because this is a fire sign, but that has so much to do with knowledge and air, which is why they're opposites, it's about taking the actions that allow you to change your mind, right? Air fuels fire. So what are the thoughts, stories, or behaviors that you need to burn away, that need to go, that need to die, in order for you to feel inspired to take the actions that you need to take, so that those stories are eradicated and you could prove the deeper truths that you actually want to be real to yourself, so that you then can rise into that higher mind and that realms of the gods within yourself, in your own life, in your own reality. Like there is a possibility for heaven on earth every single day, no matter what, all the time. And we absolutely have to be able to experience that within ourselves. And there's nobody who can stop us. It is a choice. So that's really what this full moon is asking of you and asking of all of us. And again, because it's in Taurus, like the sign of the goddess and the empress and like, just so beautiful nature vibes, like go out and get your answers from Mother Earth. You all know, like I say it all the time, I am a secondhand, vintage, plastic-free, sustainably devoted person. I get my answers from nature. So if you have a question that you've been asking that you have not found the answer to yet, If you have been feeling lost and don't know what to do, and you want to take action, but you just don't know what to do, and you've been feeling stuck, or you feel unworthy, or you're just not sure what the thing is that you're meant to do, go out into nature and ask her. Ask her the questions that you have, and I promise you, you will get an answer. You can try my free channeled writing practice. It's on my website, absolutely 100% free, no strings attached, but it is a channeled writing. It's a meditation to do the channeled writing. I talk about this practice all the time. I call upon X, Mother Earth, full moon, the energy of Sagittarius, whatever it is. I call upon this thing. Please write to me, through me, anything I'm meant to receive in this moment. This is very, very potent. I've had thousands of students do this practice, and it works for everybody. But if you are a Gemini, this is a really, really potent practice to use more consistently and more often in your life. So I highly recommend doing that during this full moon to get the answers and to see like, hey, what is the thing? What is the action that I'm meant to take? Because completion, the best way to complete an old cycle is by taking the kinds of actions that are required to start the new one. Letting go of the old habits, letting go of the old behaviors, and like setting forth on a new chapter. Now, some people say like, oh, but full moons are for, closing out and releasing and banishing. Like, yes, but you can banish old habits and patterns by starting new ones. So that's why I love to use like full moons in that way, that like is kind of honoring the same energy of new moons and planting seeds, is because you can really call that energy forth. I'm completing this old thing and I'm proving it to myself by doing this thing that I had never felt like I was capable of doing before, or I never gave myself permission to do before, right? So sorry that I don't have any rituals coming up, y'all. I'm so swamped. It was a lot to even make this video. My Oracle deck is due in like 2.5 weeks. I got a lot going on. There's a lot happening, but big podcasts coming out. Got a podcast with Danica Patrick that comes out today, June 1st as well. And it's such an incredible blessing to just be sharing this magic and medicine in more places and across more corners of the world. And so thank you all so much for understanding that I just don't have it in me to lead a ritual right now. I'm gonna go camping this weekend and take a moment to be in that Jupiter, nature, earthy, Taurian, Geminian vibes with myself. So thank you so much for your patience. And of course, if you are interested in joining me for my retreat in Scotland, it's co-ed. Absolutely everyone is welcome. Singles, couples, whoever, gender nonconforming people, everybody is welcome. And I would absolutely love to have you there. It's the deepest offering that I have, and the castle is so magnificent. It's going to be so spectacular. And it's right before Sagittarius season. So few months from now, October 9th through 14th. As always, thank you so much for being here and for joining me. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It is my deepest honor and greatest pleasure always to welcome you to your most magical life.